So it's really good news that Utrogestan is now going to be fully funded for HRT here in New Zealand. But a lot of people are asking, what is all the fuss about and what is so good about Utrogestan? Well, let's have a look. There's basically at least 5 good things about Utrogestan. There's probably more, but let's go through the main 5. So number 1, it is body identical or bioidentical progesterone. What does that mean? Well, it means it has exactly the same molecular structure as the progesterone your ovaries make. So it is mimicking nature as closely as we can, which is a good thing. The other types of progesterone that you can use in HRT, and there's 3 of them, there is Provera tablets, Primulate tablets, and the Mirena coil. They contain non-body identical progesterone, which actually is called a progestin. We can't call it progesterone because it's not. So they contain progestins, which are slightly different to the molecule of progesterone that we make naturally. And those 3, plus Utrogestan, are the only 4 types of progesterone that are licensed to be part of HRT. And that's because they're the only ones that you can guarantee give you enough progesterone to protect your womb if you want to take some estrogen. So women with a womb or with womb cells, if they want to take estrogen, they must take some form of progesterone. I say womb cells for a reason, because women who've had a hysterectomy but had very severe endometriosis can sometimes actually still have some womb cells lurking around somewhere. And in those cases, we tend to cover them with some progesterone as well if they want to take estrogen as HRT. Women who've had a hysterectomy and never had any severe endo, there's no womb cells left, so they can just take estrogen alone safely. So it's really important for people with womb cells, if they want to take HRT, you can only pick one of those 4 types of progesterone. And up until recently, the only bioidentical one there, Utrogestan, was not funded, but now it is. So that's really good. And it's a better way to imitate nature. So bioidentical is the big first tick. The second thing that's good is you tend to get less side effects from Utrogestan than these other 3 progestins. And that's partly because it's bioidentical, so it matches your natural hormones so well. It kind of just matches on to progesterone receptors really well, a bit like a lock and a key fitting together. Whereas the progestins, because they're not exactly the same, they can sometimes wander off and hook up with receptors that are similar to progesterone receptors, but not quite the same. So I'm talking about aldosterone receptors and androgen receptors mainly. And that's why you can sometimes get side effects like bloating or acne, more so from progestins than from Utrogestan. Some women, though, still get those side effects even with Utrogestan because they get those side effects even from their own natural progesterone. So it's not guaranteed that it is going to be perfect for everybody, but it does tend to have less side effects. So that's the second tick. Third tick. There are less risks with Utrogestan. The risks are even lower. And I'm talking about breast cancer risk and cardiovascular risk. So research studies have looked at this and said, out of all the progestins, the lowest risks for those things seems to be with body identical progesterone. So that's a really big tick. That doesn't mean, though, that the other 3 that we've been using till now are somehow now high risk or dangerous. I don't think we need to worry and everybody needs to switch over. They're still low risk as well, but Utrogestan is even lower risk. So that's a really good thing. What's the 4th tip? Well, sleep. A lot of people feel like they sleep better on Utrogestan because it has a mildly sedating effect, which is why it's taken at night. So a lot of women do sleep better, and some women take just progesterone. Mainly for that sleep benefit, but also for some women it helps with mood. So any woman can take progesterone on its own, but not every woman can take estrogen on its own. Unless you have no womb cells, then you can take estrogen on its own. But some women find that just progesterone on its own is quite beneficial, especially for sleep, which obviously in perimenopause and menopause, sometimes our sleep goes bonkers, doesn't it? So it's really good that it's got that effect. What's the fifth and final big tick for Utrogestan? Well, you can put it in your vagina, which sounds a bit weird, I know, but it's true. Those capsules can also be absorbed from your vagina. You just pop the capsule as high as you can, and then it acts where we want it to act, which is at the site near the womb, because if you're going to take estrogen, you must have that progesterone cover, otherwise the womb cells get overstimulated, and the progesterone acts there in the womb to just keep them calm. And obviously if you take it vaginally, you're even less likely to get any side effects then. And some women, even with oral Utrogestan, they still get a bit of those side effects of bloating or skin changes or other stuff. But when they pop it in their vaginas, it seems to be fine. So that's quite a versatile use of those little capsules. So there's lots of good things about Utrogestan. So everybody's probably thinking, oh God, I'll go and see my doctor tomorrow and get some of this stuff. It sounds amazing. Well, look, I don't think everybody needs to kind of suddenly need to change unless they want to. So lots of women are happy on their progestin, you know, whether that's a Mirena coil or a Provera or Primulot tablets, and it's doing a good job for them, and they think, well, I don't really want to start something new and, you know, rock the boat, and that's fine. Sometimes as well, we may not go for Utrogestan first for certain reasons, and the main two I can think of are if a woman needs contraception still, because Utrogestan's not a contraceptive, but the Mirena coil is, so that's often a better choice. And secondly, if you're one of those unfortunate women for whom perimenopause has just made your periods go really heavy and awful, then sometimes Utrogestan just doesn't have enough oomph to kind of calm all that nonsense down. And that's when the other non-bioidentical progestins are often a bit more useful, especially the Mirena coil, that often just gets the womb nice and calm. But even Provera and Primulot are sometimes better at controlling some of that heavy bleeding that can go on in perimenopause. So there you have it. It's great news that it's funded. It's all 4 of them now are funded, and we've now got, you know, that bioidentical one funded as well. So it's on the table for women to choose from, without having to worry about your bank account. And you can choose the one that feels the best for you. Thank you for listening.